Welcome to the Social Studies Podcast, where we study being social by being social. Still here in New York City. I am in the same attire as the last podcast. Why? Because I did two, back to back with two of my friends. Got to capitalize on capitalism. Ha ha! This one, I have never heard from you guys so much as when I had Gaspare Randazzo on the podcast last time. You were in my DMs going wild. You were tagging us in like everything. You can't believe his stories. This guy just talks and it's funny, which is why I actually hate him. We're not friends. Welcome back to the podcast. Hilarious comic and one of my new good buddies, Gaspare Randazzo.
Hi, how's it going? Welcome.
It's going.
Welcome myself back.
Welcome.
I don't know who to welcome my
podcast.
Welcome.
Is that what we're gonna do?
I'm not sure. I didn't know why I was going there. Where I was going.
New York local. Okay, a couple things that have blown my mind about you is the fact that it like you don't live far, but it took you like 2.5 hours to get to the show.
So I live exactly, if you put it in GPS, I live 15 minutes away from the venue where we're performing at Caroline's. It took me
if
the
no
first
cars
night.
are on the road.
If no cars, 15 miles, 45 minutes. Even though it's 15 miles, it's 45 minutes if there's no cars on the road. But because there's cars on the road, it takes about 2.5 hours to get here. So I could have just actually driven to Washington, D.C., got a burger, and came back home, and it would have been more time productive.
Wait, shut up. How far of a drive is Washington, D.C.?
3.5 hours.
Drive?
Yeah.
Drive.
But going back and forth from Staten Island, where I'm not originally from. I'm from Brooklyn, for the record, but I live in Staten Island now. Driving from Staten Island to Manhattan with traffic is about 2 hours. Could be longer, depending on the time of the day. There was rain yesterday.
The rain really shakes things up here.
Yeah.
Like, you guys can't handle it.
No. Well, we're not like Seattle.
Don't even.
Well,
we don't.
The thing is,
we're in Seattle.
We don't believe in umbrellas. If you're a true New Yorker, you don't bring an umbrella with you because there's nowhere to put the umbrella. So you just have to just tough it through.
Which that is crazy to me too.
Yeah.
Because here, your rain's disgusting.
Yeah, it's because so I don't know if you know how rain works. They take the rain comes from the ground and then just redrops on you. That's something photosynthesis. Not photosynthesis.
Wait, no, now I can't even think of it. It's not photosynthesis because that's when leaves change color.
Precipitation
and condensation, evaporation. It's
that's like an elementary school thing.
Right.
We don't talk about that in high school.
Dirty piss
water.
Dog shit water.
Yeah, because you could take a shit on the street in New York. That's legal. So that just gets sucked up into the puddles and then that gets picked up and then redropped on you. And then you got poor little kids in the street excited for the rain. They stick their tongue out and they're eating
First off, can
water.
I use that today? When I'm like, you can take a shit on the street, that's legal. Can I use that?
Of course. It's a true fact and everybody knows it. So.
I think I might use it. Okay, that's true. But our rain in Seattle, Blakey, is it not like the freshest, most like delicious thing? It's like super, like you could take a shower in it. Like if it was like, and also it doesn't downpour in Seattle.
Was it like mountain rain, right? You got like that like
it's
nice
just like
airy
glorious, mountainous, icebergious. And also we have the ocean or the sound really, which is just a big bay. And then we have Lake Washington. So like it's like all this like fresh and nice salt meat. And then but it doesn't downpour like it did here yesterday. It's always either fine mist or like a nice steady God, we have taking a good old piss on you.
We have the Hudson River where you dump bodies.
Or planes.
Well, or planes. Yeah, there's a movie about that.
Too soon? Everyone lived, so why are we oohing Blake?
Nah, I don't even know the reference, so I'm just... the rain here is just disgusting. It just ruins the day. Like once it rains, I cancel all my plans. I don't go to work. Nothing.
Do you don't go to work?
Well, because I got the 2 kids. I got to put them in the car in the rain. Your whole day's ruined. I got to put on Tim's. Because I can't go out in sneakers in the rain because then my sneakers will get ruined. Not that I'm a sneaker person, but this is just reality because you'll step in a puddle your whole day and my socks are wet, so I got to bring a change of socks to work. So.
What do your students do when you show up in Tim's?
Well, they make fun of me. Yeah. They say they're not mine. But I told you how I got the Tim's, right?
From Method Man?
No. Not from Method
But she
Man.
did meet Method Man.
I hung out with Method Man, but that's different.
Hung
but,
out with Method Man. He came to your school.
And
Don't
I-
act like
and
he
we
like
did thumbs
rolled
up together.
Yeah, I hung out with Method Man. Like he rolled up in his
mean-
Cadillac, hopped you in, just shared a blunt in the back.
No, well, not that. But he came to my school and we posed for pictures together. Not a big deal. I was dressed like a leprechaun.
Because it was St. Patrick's Day.
So, he wasn't. But I don't even know how the hell we got. Oh, the Tims. I told you. No, I think I told you. So, all right. So,
Oh, you might have told this one on the last podcast.
Yeah, I thought I
I don't know
told
if
it.
you did or not.
I don't know about the Tims. The guy stole the Tims. I stole them from a guy who stole money from me.
Yeah, you did.
All right. So,
And if you didn't, let us know in the comments below, and we'll come back and retell you that story.
it's a good story. But someone let me borrow Tims. And then I got detained in an airport.
I want to ask you something,
Yes.
and I've been meaning to ask you this. You dropped a bomb on me this week, and I was not prepared to hear you say this. I didn't know that you are a sign language interpreter. You speak fluent sign language.
I do.
That's
I do.
insane.
All right. So,
So you went to Gallaudet.
no, I didn't go to Gallaudet. I wish. So, all right. What happened was this. Long story short, but then never a long story short with me.
Too
but
late, bitch.
So, yeah. So, when I was in college, I'm sitting there, right? First day, first week of school, I'm sitting in the chair. So this guy comes in and he does this whole thing about study abroad. So he's like talking about it and everybody's like, nobody fucking does study abroad. This is so stupid. So sure enough, as you know from the Lincoln tattoo, I was like, nobody does it? Now I'm going to do it. So this girl next to me is like, you won't do it. So I said to the guy, can I have a book? I flip through the pages of the book. I tell the girl, stop me when you want me, when you're ready. I flip through the pages of the book. Boom, lands on China. I was like, see you in China. She's like, you're not going to go to China. Went to China. 3 months later, I'm in China, living in China. Looking back, like I was 18. Why did my parents just let me go to China? I went home. I was like, I always wanted to go to China. No, I didn't. Like I wanted to hook up with this girl. And I never saw the girl again. So it was like a
Right.
bet for nothing.
Yep.
So I go to China. I'm there. I learn nothing. I just walk around aimlessly eating.
Chinese food
No, very different. But, it's like a lot more meaty.
and like feety.
I mean, I didn't want to say that, but
But it's true. Like no, when
different. It's just a different taste.
I did eat authentic chicken feet, Chinese chicken feet, and I loved it.
Yeah, I love the food. I even ate at a fancy ass Domino's over there,
Shut
and
up.
it was a restaurant. It was like a fancy restaurant, and I ate there and I loved it. It was different. It just
Wow.
the feel of sitting in a comfortable chair while you eat Domino's is nice.
Gasper, where the fuck is this going? You were in China. I asked you about sign language
Oh
interpreting.
yeah. So I come home from China, and I only learned basic Chinese level 1. I only learned 3 phrases: "Ren Xi Ni Han Gao Jing," which is nice to meet you.
Yeah.
"Ni hao piao liang," which is hello beautiful, because I would say that to everybody I
Oh
met.
God.
And and ni hao, hello.
Were these people though? They're like, listen, Chinese in your thick ass New York accent. Maybe
Yeah,
it's not working.
They were like, you suck at Chinese. No, but that's not true, because, all right, so I was super into it, but I just didn't know the language. But I liked it. So the teacher asked me if I wanted to stay and teach English in China. So I was like, I debated hard, but then I would have put me back a year in school. My grandma was sick, and I was like, I don't want to have to, God forbid something happened. 16 and a half hour time difference, plus a 17-hour flight. By the time I got home, the whole, everything. I just didn't want to do that. But they loved me. I did a play in front of these kids in China. I did Baywatch. I reenacted it, and I did it in Chinese. I ran across the stage. I was like pretending to do CPR compressions on someone. I was like, yee, ah, su. That means 1, 2, 3. And the kids were all cheering. I ran in slow motion.
Where is this going?
So I come home from China, and they put me in Chinese level 2. So I tell them, I go, excuse me, I don't understand what's being said. She answered me in Chinese. I was like, I don't understand that either.
And you're saying this in English.
English. And she just kept answering me Chinese. Everybody around me was Chinese. So she's like, you got to come outside with me. She motioned. So I go
Was she
outside.
mad?
Yeah, she was like,
mad.
why are you in this class if you don't speak Chinese? I was like,
And she said that in English.
yeah, in English.
Is
I was
she
like,
American or she
no,
Chinese?
she Chinese, but American.
but spoke English. Okay,
But yeah,
okay.
so this is back in America. So I go, listen, I was just there in China. I don't speak the language. They just passed me because I did the play. I explained to her how I did your son, this, whatever, all that shit. So she's like, yeah, you can't take this class. So I go down to the bursar's office, the registration. I'm explaining to them everything. They're like, whoa, you move your hands a lot when you talk. We're going to just put you in sign language.
Well, shut up.
So I was like,
shut up.
Awesome. So I get put in sign language. That same day, so a bunch of kids were like, oh, you want to come play football with us in the park? I was like, sure, why not? I go to the park. They were all big, except for me. And they're like, oh, we want you to play defensive line. I know you don't know what that is. That's like the guys who
I don't.
That's like the guys who get down the big guys and run at the quarterback to hit him.
You?
Me. So I go, I mean, I'm not equipped, but I'll do it. First play, I run in, some kid throws me in the air, I fall, land on my wrist snaps in half, that it was dangling from here.
Gasper, what in the fuck?
So so these kids, they thought they were professional football players. I'm like, you're playing in a fucking park. Someone drive me to the hospital, please. My wrist I was tickling my over here. That's how it was so broken. I tried to put it back into place myself. I pulled it, it shattered. So that was a mistake. I had to drive myself to the hospital. I'm hitting all these bumpy roads. My wrist is flopping everywhere. So now I get to sign language day one, the next day.
And you only have one hand.
I have one hand. So the teacher's abusing me. But then I picked it up pretty quick and I really liked it. And I kept going with it. She's like, oh, you have a future in it because you already use your hands when you talk a lot. So I did it. And then I double majored in history teaching and sign language. Then I went to a specialized school to become a sign language interpreter.
Gallaudet.
And not Gallaudet though. But which
is like right here.
No, it's not. It's in DC.
Right here.
Yeah, because my 3 now, it's like driving the city.
Right.
So, and then I became an interpreter. I was doing that for a little. Then my first job ever teaching, I had on my resume that I did sign language. So they were like, yeah, we don't have, it was New York had a big freeze. They were like, oh, we don't have positions open. They were like, but what is this sign language? Like, would you want to teach that? So I was like, yeah, sure. So my first 2 years of teaching, I taught sign language.
High school?
Middle school.
Oh, cool.
In the schools, I taught sign language, which was awesome. And I was interpreting on the side. So I was doing like the plays. I was doing therapy sessions. I was doing marriage counseling.
Could you interpret my show?
Yeah.
You're that good?
Yeah.
Shut up.
I could do it.
You can interpret my show? I love having interpreters at my show.
I could do it. I mean, it's interpreting, like it's good to know a little about like beforehand, but there's a lag anyway.
Well, you already do now.
So, but I know your whole set from, hanging out, but like there's a lag on it. But so it's just listening and putting out.
So first of all, 2 things. One, I told you already, I minored in sign and I was going to go the same route that you went. I just didn't do it. It's so funny that your professor told you that, oh, you already talk with your hands, you're going to be good at this. You know what mine told me? What? She goes, you're gay, you're going to be good at this. Because here's the thing, too. If you don't know this, like in deaf culture.
Wait, you're gay?
Yeah, hey, babe. In deaf culture, it's like a blunt culture. Like they don't hold back. They're just like, you know what? Like, what's been going on? You know, they just like call
like
it.
If just to put into context, like if you're big,
your name,
your sign name, which is equivalent to a nickname, would be like, oh, it's
like
Big Joe, or like Fat Jess,
right.
And it's like, oh, like Jess is like, oh, but I'm not. Like,
and it's like that's what it is.
But they're like, we're just saying what we see. So
right, because it's visual.
Yeah.
So so she said that to me, and I was kind of like, okay. And she's like, it's true. And she's like, look at how you talk in sign compared to everybody else, because I was just like expressive and like I really used it. And she's like, all the gay guys are fucking great at this.
I mean, just so you like in the interpreter world, it's like 98% female, 2% male, and then out of that 2% male,
one straight.
It's like one. It's just me, and then the rest was all gay men.
Yeah. No, it makes total sense.
Yeah.
I mean, well, honestly, Gasper, that's teaching also.
Yeah, it's a big part of it. I mean,
elementary.
Yeah, I'm in high school. We're like 60-40 men to women.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, like history teachers are men, English teachers are women,
right.
Science is mixed. You know, it depends on your subjects.
I loved it. I loved signing. It was so cool to me. I wish I continued it. Yeah. I just didn't do it after school. Plus, I was only minoring in it.
I wish I still was more active. Like I was telling you last night, I went to the deaf clubs.
Yeah.
I went to the deaf clubs so I could learn how to sign better. Because I was like, think about it this way.
Tell them.
My logic was that, okay, so if I want to learn Chinese, if I'm hanging out with just a bunch of English people, I'm not going to learn Chinese. But if I went to China, I'll learn it. Didn't prove to be true. But so I went to a deaf club and I was like, let me just.
So like okay, when we say deaf club.
So it's
not a nightclub for deaf people.
It's a deaf club, like a social club.
Social club.
But not like a
country club.
Well, I think a social club like, a sex mafioso. Club? No.
Oh, okay.
But
well, we're
not
very different people.
What?
I thought of a sex club. You thought about like a fucking
mafia hangout. It's just a club where deaf people go to hang out. They have like drink, they have a bar, they have music.
Each other. Community.
And like they do poker night.
This might be insensitive. Music?
Yes.
I'm actually.
No, this is.
I'm asking.
That's not insensitive because it was the most interesting thing to me. So they would take the radio speakers and put them on the ground and blast it. But it would be like, if the radio station's 92.3, it would be like 92.5. So it was like, because they didn't hear, so it would be all the static. And I'm like, oh, I'm not deaf. Like,
and
switch
you
it.
would go and fix it.
Yeah, because like I could hear it, but the static would actually add like extra bass. So they would hear it. They would be dancing at the club. There's like a whole procedure. You know, you got the bathroom, people slide, like you can't knock on the door. So you would slide a piece of paper under the door to let someone know that someone was outside the bathroom. You know, all these things that you would never think of. You know, like you ring the bell to get in. There's a bell. The lights flicker. You know.
I want to introduce you to my friend Anna.
She's
an interpreter and teacher for elementary kids. Anyway, cool. You guys gotta love each other. She's great.
Yeah. So anyway, so I'm in the deaf club. Now the sign, so for those of you watching, the sign for listening, the sign for pizza is like you're holding a slice of pizza, like you're fingering like an L, not your hand motion is like an L. With a
grippy hand.
A curved fingering L.
If you're listening, we're describing it for you, but you could watch this on YouTube. This is a visual joke.
So
and it's actually not a joke because it's a true story.
It's an L, and then the sign for lesbian, like when two women, like I'm sure everybody knew that one. I don't think I need to explain that. So the sign
keep going.
So when two women love each other.
Very, very much.
The sign
they meet on the first day and then they move in together.
Within 3 months. Yes. And then the lesbian is an L on your chin. So very similar. You got pizza, lesbian. So I go up to this deaf guy and I'm like, oh, do you know where, but I'm brand new at signing. So I'm like rough. So I'm like, do you know where I can find lesbians? Thinking that I'm asking him where I can find pizza. So I'm like, do you know where I can find some pizza? But he's like, oh, like you want lesbians? Like, and I'm thinking he thinks I want pizza. So I'm like, do you know where I can find pizza? But I'm asking him where the lesbians are at. So he's like, oh, I don't know. So he tells me to go to this like rough street. And he's like, you have to go down there. And I'm like, oh, that's far. Like all for pizza? I'm thinking, I'm like, all for lesbians? He's like, yeah, that's very specific. He's like, you're going to have to pay a lot of money for that. And I'm like, for pizza? And he's like, well, you want it. And I'm like, you got to go get it. I'm like, huh. And then like I'm staring like a jackass thinking I got to go pay like $150 for two girls to get in my car. Or for pizza. He's like $150 for two girls to get in my car. Then he realized, and like you said, signage is a very blunt language. He's like, you're a fucking dumbass. And he just walked around and told everybody in the club that I want pizza lesbians or something. And I didn't know, so I just stood there like a dumbass nodding. And everyone abused me, and then they would call me Pizza Lesbian. That was my sign name.
So out of all of this, I have to, my biggest takeaway is 2 lesbian prostitutes would only cost you $150.
I don't know the market.
I don't know the market either. I was actually wondering this recently. I don't know anything about prostitution, truly.
Jeff and I were asking me this?
No, I don't know. You probably don't know either, maybe. I don't know, maybe you do. Jeff and I were talking about this too. How much do you think like a handy costs?
Well, just the hand?
Just the hand.
Is there kissing? I don't know. Do you kiss a prostitute?
I don't know. I don't think I do. But like,
because that's like the intimacy part. I like that.
But that's the part you want?
No, I don't want. I mean, I don't know. Babe, don't listen.
Wait, do you want me to cut this?
No, I don't care.
No, but how much do you think that would cost? Like, because Jeff and I, like,
just the hand. Where is it happening? I don't know the rules.
Yeah, there's like tiers of it.
Yeah, because like, so are you in an expensive hotel?
What do you think a low-end handy
like, you could probably go out on the street right outside
for $5.
Here. Yeah, you could get one for $5 from someone who's got no teeth.
High-end handy is?
Probably $500.
$500 for a handy?
Well, you're talking high-end. Are you talking about
each? Jesus Christ, like that's.
Are you talking about like a high-end prostitute who's coming? You're going to a hotel. You know, you're doing it like nice, or are you talking about in the side of an alleyway from someone who's got no teeth? And they're doing it only for the crack.
Yeah, so it's just like real life. You could
Blake's looking it up right now.
Did you look it up? Blake
just found someone.
I'll ask him to look things up. What is it, Blake? How much is a handy?
It comes up with the New York results too.
Oh, perfect. Geotargeting. So tell us.
How much is a hand job?
Blake's family's going to look up his phone.
For people who haven't listened yet, Blake, my 21-year-old producer, I make him look up the weirdest shit. And this one I didn't even make him.
So now when Blake is gone for 3 hours later and we don't know where.
3 hours.
Oh, yeah, I
Jesus
don't know.
Christ.
I'm giving you a lot of credit,
Blake's
Blake.
21.
Yeah.
Okay, Blake.
3 minutes.
If you're in the Bronx, it's just $75 plus a shot at the bar.
No, that's
in Manhattan. It's 125 north of 14th Street.
Does that mean something to you?
north of 4th Street. Like we're north of 4th Street.
Chinatown or Soho?
The price goes up to 175.
For a hand job?
You could do it yourself.
Meanwhile, in the
Honestly.
Tribeca Wall Street area, a hand job will cost
Probably like
you a whopping
300.
$225.
Yeah, because that's like rich district.
Yeah.
It's just $175 less than mommy roll play sex. Mommy roll play sex. What?
All right, now you're into some weird dark web shit.
Honestly, Blake, I don't want you to continue because
It was the first result.
but I'm protecting you. I don't
The
want your
FBI is
searches
watching
to
you.
get crazy because now the geo-targeted ads that you're gonna get, like you're gonna get a
Are
double-sided
you stressed?
dildo asking you to buy it.
No, they're
yeah.
gonna be like, "Are you stressed? Like, go get a massage."
Yeah, come get a massage. Every time I see a massage parlor with the light on at nighttime, I'm
They're
always
all-
like, this one is for
You
sure.
need a password to get in.
Yeah, it's
for sure.
it's very
That's from-
like $5 hand GAs.
I don't know if it's $5 though at those.
120 in Tribeca, we've learned.
Blake
Wow,
just-
you and we learned something today. Hey, we're back with Gaspare Randazzo.
Hi.
Pause actually, really quick. Follow him at Stand Up Randazzo.
Thank you.
What do you think of the shows this weekend, by the way?
Yeah,
So far,
great.
we have 2 more.
So like for me, not in the sentimental mood, whatever,
Oh,
but
also, I forgot to ask you about this. Did you tell Lou when you met him? Did you tell him what you're about to tell me?
yes.
Okay, I want to know
Yeah.
what he said when you said that because when.
He was like, okay, cool. Yeah, he was.
Oh, okay.
It was, he didn't know him, but
You
you have to
didn't know him.
understand.
You
Yeah,
didn't know
he
him.
said he came at, well, let me explain.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
Caroline's Comedy Club is like the biggest comedy club, one of the biggest in the country. It's been around forever. Everybody big has gone through
Renowned.
Caroline's Comedy Club. So in the 80s, so let me backtrack a little. My father was a police officer in New York City. My father,
in a bird hoarder, but
well, that's a whole nother
we're not
story.
going to do it. We
Yeah.
don't need PETA coming after you.
Yeah, so my father was those are good stories. All those animals are fine. My father was a police officer. He fell off a building, broke his legs. So he stopped being a police officer and he was a bouncer. And then he became like one of the head security guards at Caroline's Comedy Club. So it's kind of like full circle in a cool way because my dad saw like Jerry Seinfeld, Gilbert Gottfried, all those people who came through Caroline starting was with them every day, hanging out with them, worked the club for all those years. So it is cool to be playing there because my father did pass away this year from 9/11 related cancer. So even though he was a retired police officer, he still went down after 9/11 and helped look for bodies in the rubble and stuff. So he got a cancer from it that was extremely rare, and that's that. So it is like very like emotional being out there for me because it's like being in the green room and being backstage is like where my dad stood, and like for all now I'm gonna cry because it's like, but it's just a cool moment. Like, and my mother came to the show last night, and my mom was crying too because it's like this like surreal, like come together full circle moment. Like my dad was there while I was in the womb, like
Yeah.
being born,
Yeah.
and then here I am 32 years later performing on the stage there. So
Yeah, wow, that's cool.
it's cool.
So when you told Lou the Spark Notes version of that.
Yes.
And he did know your dad?
No, but he said that they wouldn't probably have crossed paths because
He came a little later.
Lou
probably.
came a little later, and Lou's been doing it since the 90s. My dad was there in the 80s,
Yeah.
or maybe Lou was the late 80s. And my dad also did the South Street Seaport one as
Yeah.
well. He helped them open that one up. So there was a lot of,
Yeah, it would have been a little.
Also, you got to think Lou's probably dealt with since 1988, how many security guards and how many
Of course.
people. So I don't expect, but
Of course. Lou is a great guy. He really gave me, for those who are not full-blown comedy fans, Lou Fanda is the booker at Caroline's. And he put me up when nobody was really putting me up because people were not like quite taking my comedy seriously because my video had just blown up. So they were thinking, oh, he's just like an internet guy. And Lou was like, I think you got it. I'm going to give you a chance. And he like put me up on that stage when a lot of clubs were not. And then from there, I was able to like use his name and use Caroline's name to say
Yeah.
I did this show. And then I got a lot of bookings too. So I owe him a lot. So he was at the show and he waited for me to get there. And you two were already talking. And I was always wondering, I was like, oh, you telling me? I'm so glad.
I was
He's such a
telling,
nice
but
guy.
it was like it was hard. It was like in passing. I just had
Yeah.
shake his hand. The dog was
Yeah,
jumping
yeah,
on me,
yeah.
and then I'm like, oh hey, my dad, and it's like I didn't want to get too whatever.
Too deep
But he'll
with
be
it,
there tonight,
too.
I think. So
Yeah, I think he's gonna come tonight, which is
yeah.
amazing.
So
He I don't know if I told you this. Did I tell you I might have told you this. So Judy Gould, I was talking to Judy about it, and she was telling me that one time she was like, "Who's this guy who's going up on stage?" And Lou was like, "He's gonna be a star." She's like, "This fucking kid is 18 years old up here in a hoodie and sweatpants. Like, what are you talking about?" And Lou was like, "This guy has got it." And it was Adam Sandler.
yeah,
That's
he told us
crazy.
that story, Lou.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
What did he say to us? He was
He
like,
said-
he just had a
He said he had
drive.
charisma. He said he
Charisma.
had no real material. He was just going up there, just talking to the crowd, and they loved it, and they ate him up, and he had the charm, and they were like, he's gonna be a star, and he did all right.
Just all right. Yeah.
Him and all his friends greatly benefited from Adam Sandler
That's
being
funny.
huge.
Okay, you're a young dad. Well, I guess we would say young dad for today's terms.
Yeah, I mean, I'm an old dad in like our parents' terms.
Yeah, no,
like
seriously.
My parents had
Dude,
three
listen,
kids already.
I was
right?
so I was walking the dog the other day, and there was this. I was just literally. I had a shitty day. Actually, we didn't get a house again. Like, unbelievable. This house went for like $400,000 over, and someone paid cash. I'm like, what the fuck? So, I was like bummed. I was walking the dog. I was pissed, and then like I saw a street was blocked off, and then I looked at the end of the street and I heard like band music, and I was like, let's go see what it is, and it ended up being a parade. Moral of the story: totally turned my day around. Like if you just like stumble around a parade, I was like, this is kind of happy. Apparently, it was like Norwegian Independence Day or some shit.
Oh yeah, that was a big day for me.
Yeah,
Us Italians love
You're
Norwegian
Italian, they
Independence
love
Day.
their Norwegian food. Yay, salmon.
Swedish meatballs.
So Swedish. It's okay. So I'm sitting there in the parade, and I was thinking, hold on, where am I going with this?
I'm
What
not
was I
sure.
gonna-
I don't really know
Hold on.
where you're going.
I do know where I'm going with this. Talking about the parade, talking about the house.
I'm a
talking about
young dad.
young dad.
There you go.
We're at the parade, and there's a lot of older people there, like in their I would say mid to late 60s even. And I was like, okay, cool. And they were all talking, but they were wearing like the high school sweatshirt, like, and their kids were in the high school band. They're kids.
Yeah.
And they were like in their 60s and 70s. And I was like, oh my God.
Because now people have kids in their 40s, so
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. So that's why I say in today's terms.
No, I
you're a
screwed up.
young
I screwed
dad.
up.
Shut up. Shut
No,
up.
I
But
didn't.
you love being a dad.
I love it. It's the best part of my life.
I mean, your nails were painted yesterday
My
because
toenails-
your daughter painted
So
your nails.
we went out after the first show and stayed out till
We went out.
Joseph and I, and we went out and stayed out till whatever 1 a.m. It took me 2 hours to drive home because every single
I was literally getting ready to
tunnel-
pass out, and he's like, I just got home. I'm like, this is insane.
tunnels were blocked, bridges were blocked. So I get home, it's like 3 a.m, and I'm like, well, this is miserable. But months ago, I said I knew I was going to go out there after the first night. We knew we were going to hang out after the show, so I took a personal day from work, which is like I've never really done it.
Are you
And I'm like,
serious?
yeah, I took a personal
Oh,
day.
always take your personal
No,
days.
it's different in New York. You can't. They count in your sick days, and then they hold it against you. So I never take them unless like something really is happening. So I'm like, oh, I've been looking forward to this personal day for 3 months. I was like, this is great. So we went out late, and I was like, who gives a shit? It doesn't matter.
We had a good
I'm gonna
time.
sleep in. It'll be great. I figured I'd get up, I'd get my kids dressed, make breakfast, send them on their way to school, and then I'll take a nap and then get ready for the show. 5:50 in the morning, we get an email from the school that there was a COVID case. They have to close my kids' school. And then I had both kids home with me from 5:50 in the morning. They wake up at 5:50 on. We were just on. We were up. They wanted to go in the backyard and do science experiments. They were wet. Everything was wet. Like my kid's like, he had a Tupperware, my son, and he's like, I'm going to put food coloring in, and they just poured it on himself. And I'm like, oh, this is fucking horrible. It was like 6:10 in the morning. Exhausted. I just kept painting my daughter's toenails. She's like, paint them again. I'm like, oh, okay. Painted it again. Just like they're so thick in coating, she couldn't even put socks on because I just kept layering it. I didn't know what to do. She painted my toenail. Like I don't know what else to do. You know, I had so many
just
hours to
dadded.
kill, you know, and
Just
like
be a
there's only
dad.
so much mac and cheese we could eat, you know, because that kills a lot of time.
Are you like constantly exhausted?
I am really tired right now because we got in late last night again, and then my kids wake up at 5:50 in the
We
morning.
gotta do it again.
And
we have 2 shows tonight.
not only did I wake up, I got home and my son was like, "I'm really don't feel good. I'm scared, blah, blah, whatever." So my wife let him sleep in the bed with us, which we never do. And then my daughter ended up in our bed too, because my wife just likes bringing everybody in bed. So I came home. I wasn't going to jump in the bed on top of everybody. So I slept in a freaking car bed in my son's car bed last night.
God. How old's your son?
My son's 5.
And your daughter's
2.
2.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we
are
are.
we gonna do more?
No, we can't.
Oh yeah, we learned about it all in the last podcast.
My wife dying and all that shit. It's hard.
Gasper's wife almost died twice. You guys should go back and listen to his first episode on the Social Studies podcast for that, because we're not going to relive the trauma today. We don't have a
not trauma
counselor
for
on
me.
site.
It's fine. It's so funny because we were all like in the green room hanging out, and everyone's like birthing. They were talking about birth, and I was like, "Oh yeah, my wife died."
Story.
Like,
Can I ask you something? We didn't talk about this on the last podcast. So your wife's jewelry line is because of that.
Yeah. So my wife started a jewelry. All right. So just a quick recap. My son was born 3 months early. So while my son was in the NICU, my wife was losing her mind.
Quite literally.
Because, naturally, like you die giving birth and then your son's in the NICU. He's 3 months early. He was so small. I don't know if I told you, he's so small.
You told me you put your ring on
my
his
ring went
wrist.
up to his shoulder. No, to his shoulder. That's how little he was. So it was horrible. So my wife was like losing her mind. So she was just like, and like when she was going through IVF and stuff, she would like fool around. Like people were like, "Oh, you should try these crystals." So she like fooled around a little, making bracelets for herself. Then when he was in the NICU, she really started to put bracelets together, and people everywhere we went, people would be like, "That's really nice. Like, where'd you get it?" And she's like, "I made it." And then it just kind of transformed from there into a business, like, and then
What's the name of it again?
It's called True Warrior Jewelry. True Warrior Jewelry. She has a website, Instagram, and all that. And then like all of a sudden, all these celebrities started wearing it. So like Lucy Hale's worn it. It was on Sex and the City. It was on the show Working Moms. It was on the show Younger with Nico Tortorella wore it. Nico Tortorella wore it on the cover of Cosmopolitan magazine. There's a spread in GQ and he has it on. So like it was just, and then once all these celebrities started wearing it, people started reaching out to her like, "Oh, I saw that necklace on Lucy Hale." So, and then it just blossomed from there. And
that's insane.
So, but the factory is in our house. So
also, this is like such a Randazzo like thing. Like just shit just happens. Like the whole family's in a fucking movie tomorrow. I don't know if I can talk about this. We'll save it for the next time you're on the pod. But like I can't say I'm surprised.
Well, I could say how it happened, but I can't say anything about the movie.
No. Well, don't even talk about the movie. I will literally talk about that after you do it. Keep going about the jewelry.
Yeah. So then, so we have a factory in our house, in our upstairs. So we have like a loft, whatever, and so we built a factory up there. And so basically this is every day. She's a school social worker. I'm a teacher. We go to work. We come home. I pick up the kids. We come home. We hang out with the kids. She goes up and works a little. I make dinner. Then she comes down. We sit. We eat as a family. Then we do bath time, showers, read 100 books because I don't want my kids to end up like me. So I make sure to read like 6 books a night with them. They like pick 3 books each and we read.
So you're tight on screen time. Like we don't really do a lot of screen time at your house.
I mean, listen, I'm a regular person. Like my kids watch TV. I'm not going to be like, no. I don't want them to. I want them to. The last book I read was Holes, okay, in 8th grade.
Got it.
I don't read. I don't want them to be me. I want them to like reading. So we can just read, how Brown Bear, we know. I'm like, all right, come on. We know what he's going to see. Okay.
Brown Bear.
He sees someone staring at me. Yeah, I got you. We go through the books and we do the books every night. And then we put the kids to bed. And then my wife goes back up at 8 o'clock. And then she works in the factory. We call it the factory. And then she does orders and just makes.
So your whole upstairs is the factory?
Yeah.
Wow.
It used to be really cool.
I'm
not sure what a town. I never understand what a townhouse is.
So it's so crazy. New York
people always
so
say like
different.
a townhouse. I don't know what that means.
New York is so different. So it's like a townhouse would be
like an attached house.
Yeah, it would be like 4 houses that are all attached, and it's just up. It's like 3 or 4 levels, just like up, but all one thing, and they're skinny.
No, it's we live
You're
in
a house.
Yeah, we live in a house. Yeah.
You have a yard.
Yeah, I have a yard.
I saw that you have a yard.
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit.
That's when I sent you pictures when you were sleeping until noon, and I was up painting nails.
Fuck, if there's one thing I want with our house, I just hope to God we have a yard.
A yard is
so
a big,
bad.
and like we want to move. And
where do you want to move?
We want to move to Jersey.
Oh, Jersey.
every New York City teacher pretty much lives in Jersey.
But would Jersey get you like down here faster, or would it still be that long?
It would be a little faster, and I wouldn't have to pay $18 to cross a bridge.
You paid for the bridge, $18 too.
That's how much the bridge is to cross. And then you have to pay the Lincoln Tunnel, which is like $16. Driving to the city is like $40 just to drive. Then you got to pay for parking. It's expensive. Living in New York, that's why like our salaries are nice living in New York, but
everything
like, you know, I got a slice of pizza. What was it? I told you yesterday, the slice of pizza was $8.80.
Yeah, but you got a slice of pizza in Times Square.
Doesn't matter.
I think it does.
$8.80.
Yeah, because I paid for literally Jeff and I, we went to Mulan Rouge, and before Mulan Rouge, we had a charcuterie board, some pretzel bites that were 100% microwaved with some shitty fucking sauce. I had a glass of wine. He had a martini. It was like $120. But then we had an amazing dinner. Lunch, actually. We had Italian food. What neighborhood would be just north of Soho?
I don't know.
We were just north of Soho.
Gramercy?
We had some awesome Italian food. Blake, myself, and Jeff all ate. We had an appetizer and we all had a drink, and it was like $70.
Yeah, that's
and I'm
good.
like, but this dinky ass meal in Times Square was $120.
Yeah, well, you're paying for being in Times Square. That's also
Times Square
is
fucking
gross.
Sucks.
Gross. The only good thing I was telling you before, so I wore a backpack today by accident because like I knew it was so hot and I'm gonna be in the city all day till the show, so I had to bring a pair of jeans. So I wore shorts now and jeans later, and so I put it in my backpack. The only good thing about wearing the backpack is if you have a backpack on, people right away assume you're a tourist. So it's like the pros and cons. Like this group of people were approaching me and they were gonna like ask me for directions. Then they saw the backpack. They were like, nah, this guy don't know shit.
That happened?
They kept walking. But then like 2 minutes later, like 10 guys came up to me and they were like, yo, buy my CD. Cause they're like, this is a tourist. I'm like, I'm not falling for your shit. Back up.
But what would I put my shit in if I needed to bring my shit with me? My backpack.
Pockets.
No, my shit, like my stuff.
Pockets. Back pocket, front pocket. You hold your jeans.
No.
Well, I usually carry a plastic bag. But I'm a homeless
Is that
person.
true?
Swear to God, yeah. I bring my lunch in a plastic bag every day.
Is Melissa pissed that you're gone so much this weekend?
Well,
it's got to be hard for her.
It is because she's not mad because she's supportive of me. So we'll put it at that. But like it's our anniversary on Monday.
Oh
and
yeah, I'm gonna this weekend up.
No, that don't matter. We're married 7 years. You know, we're just gonna do. We're gonna look at each other. $50 hand job.
There might be a little rumble in paradise after this podcast comes out.
No, it's fine because I talked about her jewelry. So no, but like I'm doing this movie thing on Monday now on our actual anniversary. So she's like, oh good, you'll be gone Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday night. I'm doing a table read for the movie. So she's like, you'll be gone Sunday, Monday, and my daughter sleeps better when I put her to bed. So she's just like, she's like, I don't care that you're gone. I just want you to come home, put the baby to sleep, and then leave.
Yeah, drive 2 hours back home.
Yeah, because she's like, because my daughter just sleeps better when I put her to bed. I don't know why. So I'm just better.
And your son's 5?
My son's 5.
Is he in kindergarten or going into kindergarten?
Going into kindergarten next year.
And his asshole fell out of his body.
All right, so.
Hold on. One more commercial break. We're going to get back. We're going to talk about assholes falling out of bodies.
Outer body experiences.
All right, tell me.
All right, so.
Also, his name's Gaspar.
Yeah, Gaspar, yeah. Speaking of that name, actually. Well, that was not. All right, well, I'll tell you this quick story. Really funny.
Figure it out.
My father, when he was a cop, once there was a car speeding, he pulls them over, and the woman's in the back seat, and she's giving birth. So they're like, my wife's giving birth. So my dad's name is also Gaspar. Everyone's named Gaspar in my family. We're like the George Foremans. So my father, he's like, oh, and he helps and he delivers the baby in the back seat of this guy's car. And they were like, thank you so much. You're a hero. Like, you know, what's your, the baby, the baby was a boy. And they were like, we want to name the baby after you. What's your name? And he's like, Gaspar. And they're like, no, thanks.
Really?
They were like, we're going to go with Gary. Like, you know, so I was like, but yeah, he delivered this baby and they wouldn't take the name.
That's hilarious.
I'm going to find them.
Hilarious.
I hope they're listening. So anyway, all right.
Yeah, so the newest Gaspar.
So no, he's not the newest. There's
another new Gaspar.
Oh, no, he's the youngest Gaspar. Yeah.
As of right now.
As of right. Well, yeah, that's it. So my son's like Chicken Little, just to put into perspective. He wears big glasses. He plays baseball. His helmet's too big. He sucks at it. He hits the ball. He runs to third base. He's like, Dad, I tricked them. I'm winning. I'm like, you didn't trick anybody. You're out. You know, like but he's very funny. He's a ham. He's awesome. So one day
Shocked.
he's
Shocked.
pooping, right? And not to get into a whole poop story, but there's not a lot about that. So he's trying to go to the bathroom and he's like, Dad, my poopy's stuck. So I'm like, all right, I don't know what the fuck that means, but so I was like, all right, just push a little harder. He's like, it's still stuck. So I go in and it wasn't stuck. I don't know what the fuck it was, honestly. I don't even know how to explain this story. It looked like poop was stuck. We'll just put it that way. So I'm like, because now if you get nervous around kids get nervous. And I'm not nervous about things. So I was like, hang on a minute. I'm like, babe, Melissa, come downstairs. She's like, what? I'm like, just come down and be cool. So she comes down and she's like, she looks and we're like, what the fuck is this? It looked like when the hot dog sticks out of the bun a little. We'll just put it like that. So we're like, what the fuck? So he's standing straight up and he's like, I can't believe my poopy's stuck. And I'm like, me the fuck either. I don't even know what the fuck is happening. So now I call my parents and I'm like, Mom, I don't know what the fuck is happening. And my dad's in the back. My dad is like super chilled with everything. He's like, asshole probably fell out. Profilated anus. I'm like, I don't know what the fuck that means. Like, what do we do? He's like, put it back in. I'm like, how do we put it back in? So I called the ambulance. I didn't know what to do. So I call an ambulance. Now my son's laughing. He's like, I can't believe my poopy's stuck and the ambulance is coming. This is funny.
So it didn't hurt him.
No, he said it tickled.
Oh God. Okay.
So now he's like, because I guess it's like that weird feeling, you know?
I would imagine.
So he's like, and like, he also laughs when he's in pain. Like, a lot of kids do that.
He's sadistic, because keep going.
No, like a lot of kids do that. Like they fall on their head. They're like, before the crying comes.
Yeah.
So he's like, no, I'm fine. So we get in the ambulance. Now I'm holding him and he's like, this is fun. We're in an ambulance. Like the EMT was like, I don't know what the fuck this is. Like, he's like, I never saw it in a young person. It happens when you're like 88. Your asshole falls out. Not when you're 4. He was 4 at the time. So now we're just riding in the ambulance and he's like, this is so cool. My dad followed behind us. So like he's waving to my dad. His asshole's just hanging out. So we get in. Now I don't know what to do. I'm just holding him, but like high and tight like a football.
Right.
Like, because I didn't know where his asshole was. So I just have him. My arm is like under his butt to like secure the asshole. So we're in the waiting room about to go in. He's like, Dad, my poopy's not stuck anymore. So now I'm like, did his asshole fall out? Like, how's it not stuck? But I had my arm wrapped around him. So I didn't know, is it in my arm? Like, is his asshole in my arm?
Yeah.
So I just took him in. I just laid him on the bench. I was like, his asshole might or might not be in his body. I don't know what just happened. I'm like, I don't know what's happening right now.
Right.
And the nurses are like, okay, we got to look. They pull his pants down. It just retracted back up.
Like a little tail.
Yes, and that's the noise it makes.
Really?
No, hell no.
Oh God.
I don't know. I'm not close enough.
I mean, I guess it would be like like a juicy sound.
No, I think it's more of like a retracting noise.
Like
A crane operator.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So it just went back up into his body. So they're like, this just happens once in a while.
No.
And I'm like, because he was born so early, they said that his a-hole walls weren't fully developed.
At that time.
Also, fun
I love
fact.
how we're saying asshole the whole time, but then just now you decided to say his a-hole walls.
I wanted to be a little more PC for my son in case he listens.
His a-hole walls.
My a-hole walls. The side note, when he was born, because he was born so early, they were like, oh, what's cool about being born this early is you almost, because he was in the incubator, they were like, it's like a window into your wife's stomach while he would have been being born, because when he was born, he didn't have testicles yet.
Right.
Because they don't develop until like 33 weeks.
Oh, so you were watching this shit
So
develop?
like literally it was just like a nub. And then like the next day I went and there was just
like a penis.
2 little pimples. And then the next day it was like, boop, little nutsack. And then like, boop, 2 little balls. And I'm like, holy shit. Like every day was like a tadpole growing. You know?
Oh my God.
And he was just like, but we watched it like happening. It was weird.
That is crazy.
Yeah. So, yeah.
How long was he in the NICU?
He was in for almost 2 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then when you brought him home, he was still very little.
He was 4 pounds. They said once he hits 4 pounds, we could take him home. I'm like, you don't have to. We don't have to. We can keep him here
and what they
a little longer. And they're like, no, at 4 pounds, you are physically able to go home. He was so little.
4 pounds, it's smaller than like a chihuahua.
Yeah, we just like walked around the house like Like he was just like in the palm of my hand, and I'm like, okay. Like none of the clothes we had fit, you know, because you don't buy preemie clothes.
You don't even
buy
put him.
regular people clothes. Like
You don't even put him in clothes for a while. I bet.
no,
Just
they
wrap
go.
him in blankets a lot.
No, but they have clothes on as well.
They do.
Yeah, they're not like.
I don't know.
Yeah, they get swaddled, but they don't get swaddled.
I feel like I would just be like, no clothes for a couple weeks.
No. You need clothes because their body's like irritated and they get like their skin's weird when they come home. They're like
Dude,
alligators.
babies. Okay, we
They're like
want
alligators.
kids. We want kids, right? For sure. But like at the same time too, that will never not blow my mind. Isn't it crazy? This is such a stoner thought, which I know you don't smoke weed, but isn't it crazy that a human makes a human inside of a human? Like honestly, it would make more sense for people to be born out of eggs to me.
Yeah, because at least it's like developed and then
it's like out of you. But like you push out from a human another human,
and you're attached to each other. Like,
and you're attached to each other. And like honestly, the gay, super gay, but I will tell you, the female body is the most incredible specimen on this planet.
Yeah.
It is. Not only do they have everything it needs to make and produce life, they have the food to continue.
Yeah, because my
life.
wife, she nursed both kids for the first year of their lives.
Right.
And like my son, it was really hard. She had to like pump in the beginning because he was in the NICU. She couldn't nurse him. So she had to just pump at home for 2 months. So that was like a whole nightmare.
And then like a pachima.
I don't know what that is.
A vagina. A chipima.
A butt?
A vagina. A vajayjay.
A woman's
vagina.
Oh, okay.
A vagina.
Okay.
It is so
Complex.
insane. How complex it is.
There's a lot of parts.
Well, there's a lot of parts, but they all do something important to
Like
like keep
one
it
pees,
protected.
one bleeds,
keep it,
one-
It's like a little oyster. It's like pushes everything out if anything bad gets in there, and it's like it like self lubricates. It pushes out a baby. You could push a baby out of a pinhole,
That's
and
the
then it
part
goes
that's wild.
back to normal as much as
Yeah.
it can.
No, it's
Like that is nuts.
yeah,
And it still freaks me out.
Yeah.
Not that I'm not anti-vagina, but
no, it
I'm just
freaks
not
me out
into
too.
It.
It freaks me out too. So when my wife gave birth,
Oh God,
she did
Melissa's gonna slaughter us.
she did a C-section.
Oh fuck, she's gonna hate me.
So they put up a curtain, right?
Mm.
But I wanted to watch. So because I wanted to see, all her organs were on the table. I was like, I don't want to watch anymore. I just retracted
She's
back.
alive, but
Well,
all of her organs were next to her.
No, not all. They had to take some out because she has really bad endometriosis.
Oh,
so they had to
Jesus
like give her
Christ.
a surgery.
We should have signed a fucking like we're
Medical
breaking all
waiver.
these HIPAA violations.
No, this
She's
is-
gonna sue us.
No, she's cool with it. She
So,
tells this whole story.
Is it crazy? I would have passed out. I don't have a
You
stomach
should
for
put her
that.
on the show.
I don't
she wants
have
to
a
come
stomach
on.
for
She'll
that.
tell you
Does
all
she
this.
really want to come on?
Yeah.
Oh my God, well,
She would do it. 100%.
We're gonna get you both on. I'm gonna like literally.
No, you don't want to do both. We don't
I'm
want to
gonna-
get along. We don't really talk like
I'm
that.
gonna be the marriage counselor.
I told her, I was like, we met. I was like, why don't we take a little break? Because like we met like before
You didn't say
Tinder
this.
and all this
Gasper,
stuff.
you cannot give all these family personal shit on this podcast. It's a very public podcast.
It's not personal. I joke with her. I was like, oh, because like to be fair, there was no Tinder when we met. All this stuff, we were dating in the Stone Age, Now all these things are available. So I was like, why don't we take a break?
Melissa, I am so sorry. First of all, I know you're probably listening and watching this. You know what? Well, everybody, go to truewarriorjewelry.com now. Go there today because he's going to have a lot of divorce fees to be paid in a couple months here after
Alimony.
this. Okay, so, yeah, that's wild. I don't know. Like babies and birth.
Yeah,
and
like
all that.
but like stuff was just on the thing. The doctor's just singing like a virgin.
No, he wasn't.
She was singing because it was on the radio. They were like so nonchalant. There's party parts. They pull the baby out. They're like, Melissa's like, oh.
I
was
would have
like,
passed
holy
out.
shit. And then they gave me the baby, and I was like, what do I do
Which
with
one?
it?
Both of them?
No, my son, we weren't allowed to
That would have
touch
been
because
even crazier.
he was like wrapped up.
And, like,
as soon as he
so
came out, they
tiny.
wrap him in saran wrap when you're that little to keep the body heat so you get you into the NICU. NICU.
Saran wrap?
Mm-hmm.
But not your face.
No. So like just his little face was like this big, and then his whole body was saran wrapped super tight because they try to like emulate the womb to keep it tight.
So his shit doesn't like.
I didn't even tell you this. So her water broke, and then they wanted to keep her in the hospital for 6 weeks, and they were giving her shots to try to keep her sac,
Waterfall.
fluid,
Yeah.
whatever. And then like after like 5 days, then my son lost his heart. They lost his heartbeat. So then they like
For
emergency.
5 days.
No, for after 5 days
Oh
of them
Jesus! I was
keeping
like,
her
oh my God.
from giving birth. Then at like the 5th day, I think we lost his heartbeat or something, and they were like, "Oh shit, we have to do an emergency C-section." I like suited up. I thought I was gonna do it. Turned out I didn't have to do anything. I was just there.
Your life is just so much. We don't even have time for the emails, but that's okay. Gaspare Randazzo, what else do you have coming on? Where can people continue to find you?
Find me on Instagram, TikTok, Stand Up Randazzo. That's it. What else is going on? I'm doing some stuff. I don't know.
Go to Staten Island and figure out what clubs he's at and go see him.
Yeah, I'm just doing shows, whatever. Once summer comes, life gets a little easier. It's hard during the school year with my kids, with my own job.
I can only imagine.
You know, it's exhausting.
That's crazy.
So,
you guys, thanks for listening to Social Studies Podcast. Go follow Gasper. This dude cracks me up. His classroom, his whole school is literally, I think the Three Little Pigs built it. It's like falling apart. But thanks for coming on. Love having you on.
Thank
love
you
you
for
guys
having
too.
me.
We'll see you next
Thank you.
time. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.